Can you hear me? If you can, and you are who I think you are, then you have a chance. You have a chance to prove my theories correct. You have a chance to become more than you are. I am looking for someone with the will to see this through. Someone who can survive. I've had others try. Gifted individuals, each with a role to play. But they were flawed. They lacked the vision, the will to see the future. You will be my key to the Sierra Madre. You will succeed where others have failed. And together we will walk out of here rich, powerful, beyond our wildest dreams.
They think I was born in power armor, with a hollow tape in one hand and a plan for world domination in the other. They don't see the path. They only see its maddening end. But to understand the end, one must know the beginning. One must understand the high-quality steel from which I was forged, and how it was bent and tarnished by the knuckle-headed fanatics who call themselves the Preservers. I grew up in the shadow of the Great War. Not literally. I was born decades after the fire cleansed the world. But its shadow was everywhere, in the rusted skeletons of machines, in the wind howling through ruins, in the fear in the eyes of those clinging to a wretched existence in the wastes of California. And there was only one beacon of light in that darkness, one bastion of order, knowledge, and strength, the Brotherhood of Steel. Entering their ranks was like taking a first sip of pure water after a lifetime in a salt sea. Here was order, hierarchy, purpose. We didn't just survive, we preserved. We studied, we prepared. I absorbed everything, from the principles of thermodynamics to close quarters combat tactics. My catechism was schematics. My icons were hollow panels. My prophets were the great engineers of the pre-war world. My ascent was meteoric. I was not merely a soldier. I was a visionary. I saw not just relics in technology. I saw their potential. While knights trained shooting at mannequins, I disassembled and reassembled laser rifles blindfolded. While scribes copied archives, I found hidden connections within them, dormant commands, forgotten projects. I became an elder paladin, not because I was the best shot. I became one because my mind was sharper than any blade. I was a strategist, a tactician, an inventor. And that is why I was the first to see the coming storm. Its name was the New California Republic. They arose from the filth, from the very chaos we, the Brotherhood, sought to curb. First, a pitiful village called Shady Sands, then a town, then a state. They didn't preserve technology. They mass-produced it, profaned it. Their soldiers in worn-out uniforms brought not order, but bureaucracy. Not knowledge, but law. Their expansion was like rust, slow, inexorable, eating away at everything in its path. I reported this to the Council of Elders. I showed them maps, intelligence reports, analyses of their military doctrine. They are weak, they said. Their army is militiamen with handmade rifles. For now, yes, I retorted. But they are learning, they are growing, they are capturing factories, recruiting engineers. In 10 years, their handmade rifles will become standardized battle rifles produced on an assembly line. In 20, they will be at our gates with tanks and vertibirds that we ourselves will help them repair, because we are preservers, not warriors. My main opponent was McNanderer, that soulless limited clerk in paladin armor. He saw the threat, but his answer was to retreat, to seal the bunker, to bury his head in the sand like some cowardly powder ganger. He called it strategic consolidation. I called it capitulation. My plan was different. Not to defend, to deter. To demonstrate such power that the NCR wouldn't even think of venturing into our lands. And I had the means. Helios won. A solar power plant on the outskirts of the Mojave. Our intelligence indicated it was not just a power station. It was the key to a pre-war orbital system, Archimedes. A weapon capable of summoning the sun's wrath from the heavens. I presented a detailed plan to the Council of Elders. We could reactivate the station, reroute power, establish control over the satellite. One demonstration strike on an uninhabited target, and the NCR would think twice before advancing on us. McNanderer's response was predictable. Too risky, too aggressive. It is not our way. But I did not give up. I was an elder paladin. I had my own resources, my own loyal men. I organized a covert expedition to Helios. We were so close. We almost launched the system, but someone betrayed us. Someone reported to McNanderer. I was recalled, subjected to a humiliating interrogation. They couldn't prove direct insubordination, but I was suspended from all key projects, put behind a desk, buried in paperwork. They tried to break my spirit with bureaucracy. It was then that the first rumors from the East reached us, rumors of the Legion. At first, it seemed a ridiculous joke. Savages in makeshift armor, worshipping some imposter called Caesar. Amusing. But as intelligence trickled in, the picture clarified, and it became terrifying. This was not just a tribe, it was an ideology. Cruel, totalitarian, but incredibly effective. The Legion did not bring bureaucracy, it brought slavery and the desert. It was the antithesis of both the NCR and the Brotherhood, and it was moving west, and the Brotherhood did nothing. McNanderair saw the Legion only as another reason to lock themselves away tighter. He didn't understand that a war on two fronts was approaching. A war between three empires, the obsolete, us, the rotten, NCR, and the barbaric, the Legion. And in that war, the survivor would not be the one with the thickest walls, but the one with the most powerful weapon. My patience snapped. If the council refused to act, I would act around it. I had another project, riskier, but with a far greater payoff. The Divide.
Join us. Let go and leave the world behind at the Sierra Madre grand opening this October. We'll be waiting. Has your life taken a turn? Do troubles beset you? Has fortune left you behind? If so, the Sierra Madre Casino, in all its glory, is inviting you to begin again. Come to
The Divide was not just a settlement. It was a pre-war logistics hub, a storage facility, a transit point. And according to our most secret archives, something priceless lay resting there, in deep bunkers. Capsules with American nuclear warheads still on their transporters, ready for launch. And not just them. There was data, guidance systems, codes, an entire doomsday arsenal just waiting. The NCR was already showing interest in the region. They saw it as a strategic bridgehead. We could not allow that power to fall into their hands. A direct military assault would be too crude and would provoke an open war for which the Brotherhood was unprepared. I needed an elegant, precise strike. Not destruction, but neutralization. I developed a device, a modified IFF beacon. Its task was simple. Once delivered to the heart of the Divide's comms hub, it would send a wake-up signal to the region's dormant air defense systems. Those, in turn, would lock down the airspace against any NCR aircraft, making the region impregnable to their major forces. After that, my own loyal team of paladins would move in and secure the bunkers, taking the technology and deactivating the warheads. I needed a courier, not a Brotherhood member, an inconspicuous neutral operative. I found one, a young man, ambitious, with a clean reputation. His mission seemed simple: deliver this communications module to the Divide. I personally briefed him. I was the voice on the radio, the mysterious employer. I spoke calmly, confidently. I was just another well-paying job in a long string of them. I remember that day. I was sitting in my lab, watching the satellite sensors. The courier entered the zone. The signal was transmitted. Silence. Then, light. A dazzling, all-consuming flash on all monitors. The sensors overloaded and shut down. And then, nothing. Radio silence. No signals from the Divide's towers. No signals from the courier. Nothing. At first, I thought it was a malfunction, interference. But when communications didn't resume after an hour, after two, the monstrous truth began to dawn on me. I had not activated the air defense. I had activated everything. My beacon was too perfect. Its signal was too powerful, too convincing for the ancient, half-ruined systems. It was received not as a command for a local air defense system, but as a general order to put the entire Divide arsenal on maximum alert. It sent the launch command to every warhead, on every transporter, in every silo. The Divide was not locked down. It was erased from the face of the earth, along with the courier, along with the NCR garrison, along with all the inhabitants, along with my dreams of a bloodless victory. When the truth emerged, the council was furious. McNamara didn't shout. He looked at me with the icy calm of a man whose worst fears had been confirmed. "You see, Elijah," he said, "your arrogance, your confidence that you can play with forces you do not understand. You are not a savior. You are a threat to us all." I was not tried publicly. It would have damaged the Brotherhood's reputation. They simply dealt with me, stripped me of my rank, declared me killed in the line of duty, and exiled me, thrown out like a used tool. I walked out of the bunker. The armor on my back was mine, but I was no longer a paladin. I was a ghost, an outcast. I looked back at the massive steel doors that had been my home. They closed, and in that moment I felt not bitterness, not sadness. I felt a cold, pure, unadulterated rage. They called me a threat. They called my plan monstrous. They who hide in their burrows while the NCR captures Hoover Dam, the key energy node of the entire region, while Caesar's legion cuts and enslaves everything in its path. They condemn me. They couldn't see the bigger picture. The sacrifice at the divide was horrific, yes, but it proved my point. It proved the power lying in the ruins. It proved that one man with the right technology could change everything. They were afraid of that power. They preferred the safety of stagnation to greatness. My exile became my pilgrimage. I wandered the Mojave, and everywhere I saw confirmation of my righteousness. I saw the NCR building its forts, its soldiers boasting of their discipline, yet blind to the real threats. I heard the whispers about the Legion, its cruelty, its strength. I saw the helplessness of ordinary people crushed between these three grinding stones. And I saw how the Brotherhood, my Brotherhood, was slowly dying under McNamara's leadership. They were losing the war with the NCR over the dam. They were taking losses. Their ranks were thinning, and their answer was to dig in even deeper. The whole world was sliding into the abyss, and everyone was blindly playing their petty games, not seeing the chasm opening at their feet. It was then, at the lowest point of my wanderings, that I heard the legend. First, as a whisper in a New Vegas bar, then as a data fragment in an old library's computer, then as a hint in the diary of a scientist found in a ruined vault. Sierra Madre, a ghost city, an untouched treasure trove, a treasure that cannot be stolen, a cloud that kills, holograms that guard. For everyone else, it was a fairy tale. For the desperate, a myth. For the greedy, an obsession. But for me, it was the answer.
your cheek against mine. Where can we go? When will we find that we know? Can we go? When will we find that we know to let go? Begin again tonight.
Sierra Madre. They whisper the word in the bars of Freeside, tell campfire stories about it, a phantom legend of wealth that cannot be stolen. They see a mirage. I see a machine, the most perfect and terrifying machine ever created. And it is not for killing, it is for healing, final and absolute. My wanderings across the Mojave after my exile were not merely an escape, they were a pilgrimage. I looked upon this torn, bleeding world and searched for an answer. I saw three forces tearing it apart, and all three are a disease in one form or another. The NCR. They bring not order, but a bureaucratic cancer. They suffocate everything with their laws, taxes, their slow, rotten from within dream of repeating the past. They are not building a future. They are sifting through the ashes, trying to mold an effigy of what once was. Their expansion is not progress, it is a metastasis. They will infect the entire continent with their pathetic semblance of order until it collapses under the weight of its own corruption and short-sightedness. Khazar's Legion. This is not strength. This is a fever. A flare-up of barbarism that burns everything in its path, only to exhaust itself and die within a generation, leaving behind scorched earth and mountains of bones. They are strong only because the world around them is weak and sick. They're a symptom, not a cure. Their discipline is a chain. Their strength is slavery. They offer a return to the Dark Ages, to be stuck in an endless cycle of violence and tyranny. My brotherhood, my former family, they are corpses. They are already dead. They just haven't lain down yet. They've locked themselves in their steel sarcophagus, clinging to dogma like a drowning man to a straw. They chose a slow, dignified extinction over the risk necessary for survival. They hoard knowledge, like monks in the Dark Ages copying manuscripts they don't understand, dooming it to oblivion. They are a museum, not an army, a monument to themselves. And between these millstones, ordinary people are ground to dust. Farmers, traders, survivors. They don't see the bigger picture. They only see the daily struggle for food, water, for one more day of life. They sell themselves to the NCR for illusory protection. They run from the Legion in fear, or worse, begin to believe in its animalistic cruelty. They have no future, only survival. Eternal, exhausting, meaningless survival. This cannot be fixed. This disease cannot be cured with medicine. It requires fire. It requires a scalpel. It requires total, absolute sterilization. And then, only then, can something new be built on the cleansed earth. Truly new. Not a repetition of past mistakes, but a step forward. And the Sierra Madre, the Sierra Madre, is that very scalpel. It is not a treasure. It is the key to apocalypse and rebirth in one vessel. My search led me through the dust and ash. I listened to the tales of drunk traders in bars, decrypted data fragments in abandoned bunkers, interrogated tribal elders. Years of work, years of solitude, and piece by piece the puzzle came together. The story of the Sierra Madre is not a story of wealth. It is a story of love, a stupid, blind, all-consuming, and ultimately self-destructive love, a perfect metaphor for humanity. It all began with him, Signor Domino, not the pathetic, vain singer who became my tool, but his ancestor, a genius investor, patron, visionary. He did not create the Sierra Madre as a casino. He created it as the greatest vault in the world. Not for money, for his beloved, a singer. He wanted to preserve her voice, her beauty, her art from decay, from time, from the looming war. He was obsessed with eternity. His obsession was private, selfish. Mine is all-encompassing, altruistic. He hired the best minds, unshackled by government contracts and reports, with an unlimited budget. Their goal was not destruction, preservation. To create a paradise untouched by the chaos of the outside world. And they succeeded. Oh, how they succeeded! They created not just a resort. They created a prototype for a new world. And I saw in their creation what they themselves did not. First, the cloud. Initially, a security system and atmospheric stabilizer, a genius self-replicating colloidal suspension. Myriads of nanites capable of maintaining a set temperature, humidity, purifying the air. But Signor Domino was paranoid. He ordered the cloud to be modified, to teach it to protect. The nanites were reprogrammed for aggressive analysis and neutralization of any foreign biological matter. They penetrate filters, masks, are absorbed through the skin. They tear cells apart at a molecular level, turning intruders into red dust, and then use that biomass for their own replication. A self-sustaining, self-improving system of killing, a perfect biological barrier. They called it the red poison, poetic and terrible. They saw it only as a god. I see it as purification. Imagine, this cloud, this sea of nanites can be reprogrammed, not to defend a small private paradise, but to cleanse the entire Mojave. Release it beyond the Sierra Madre, allow it to replicate, grow, cover the territory. It will sweep across the wastes like a wind, and everything it touches, raiders, NCR soldiers, Caesar's legionnaires, wild animals, mutants, will be quietly, painlessly, and quickly disassembled into atoms. No explosions, no suffering, no corpses spreading disease. There will only be silence, a sterile, clean, untouched emptiness. a canvas completely cleansed of the old, rotten painting. This is not a weapon of mass destruction. It is a system of planetary-scale sanitation. Second, the holograms. This was not just light. It was hard light technology. Force fields shaped by lasers and magnetic fields capable of taking any form and exerting physical force. Gods, servants, all made of light. They are linked to a central processor, drawing boundless energy from it. A hologram cannot be destroyed. It can only be temporarily dispersed until the system reprojects it again. Immortal, tireless, absolutely obedient sentinels. They saw them only as servants and guards for their paradise. I see them as the foundation of a new society. An army that knows no fear, fatigue, hunger, thirst, or moral dilemmas. That requires no pay, does not rebel, does not betray. Perfect soldiers. But not only that. Perfect builders, perfect administrators. Imagine, after the cloud has completed its cleansing work and deactivates on my command, I will find a way to give it, after all. Legions of holograms will emerge onto the cleansed Earth. They will rebuild roads, reconstruct cities, restore power grids, all according to perfect, mathematically precise plans. They will maintain order, flawless, impartial order based on logic, not human weakness. There will be no corruption, no tyranny, no crime. There will be function. There will be efficiency. There will be order. Third, the treasure. Gold bars, money, that is for small-minded fools. The true treasure of the Sierra Madre are the Volt Energy Storage Registers. Devices capable of storing virtually unlimited amounts of energy in an isolated space. Enough energy to power an entire city for decades. They were the foundation of the resort's entire infrastructure. For me, they are the power source for deploying my new system. Fuel for the future. The key to starting the entire mechanism. And finally, the crown jewel. The consciousness digitization technology. A device capable of scanning and preserving a personality as a holographic projection. Immortality in shining hard light. Signor Domino planned to record himself and his beloved. I see in this an archive, a museum. Not for everyone, but for those who prove worthy. The great minds of the past, whose knowledge must not be lost. They can be preserved, consulted. It will not be life. It will be the preservation of information in its most perfect form. Or a last chance for the select few who understand and accept my vision. An opportunity to transition to a new form of existence, leaving the frail, sinful flesh behind. The irony of fate. The war began before Signor Domino could complete his work. The resort never opened. Everyone was trapped, poisoned by their own creation. Paradise became a tomb, and the technology of immortality was used only to project insane looping recordings of the past. I learned all this step by step, and with each new fragment of information, my confidence grew. I did not see a tragedy. I saw a blueprint. A detailed, thoughtful blueprint for salvation. My previous plan with Helios 1 or the Divide was an attempt to fix a leaking roof while the whole house was crumbling. The Sierra Madre offered a chance to demolish the rotten house to its foundations and build a perfect skyscraper of glass and steel in its place. Why, you might ask? Why such a radical solution? Because there is no other. You have seen the Mojave. You have seen this endless struggle, this pain, this hopelessness. Do you truly believe that one good man with a gun can fix this? That the NCR, mired in corruption, or the Legion, offering only slavery, can build a future? No. They can only prolong the agony. I am not offering a prolongation of the agony. I am offering a cure. A harsh, painful, but final cure. Imagine the morning after. Silence. Not the silence of death, but the silence of peace. The air is clean, free of dust and ash. The sun shines on rebuilt perfect streets. Figures of pure light move along them, hologram servants maintaining order, cleanliness, distributing resources. No hunger, no disease, no war. Energy is abundant, knowledge is preserved and accessible. And within this new world, people, but not those who came before. The survivors, those who were cleansed, those who took shelter in deep vaults, whom I will find and bring into the new light. They will not know the horrors of the old world. They will know only order, knowledge, safety. They will be raised in a new paradigm. They will not be torn apart by instincts, greed, fear. They will be free from all that. Free to create, to study, to evolve. Truly, for the first time in human history. They will not be ruled by a politician, a tyrant, or a general. They will be governed by logic. An algorithm, a perfect impartial intellect whose goal will be the optimal development and preservation of humanity. I do not wish to be a king. I wish to be an architect, an engineer, the creator of a system that will work forever, protecting them from themselves. Yes, the price is high. But what is the price of endless war? What is the price of eternal suffering? How many more must die in the skirmishes between the NCR and the Legion? How many more children must be born into the dirt only to die from hunger or a raider's bullet? I offer to pay the price once, finally, and to buy eternal peace. Not a fragile truce, not a temporary peace based on fear, but a permanent, unshakable peace based on reason. This is not madness. This is the highest form of mercy. It is the only logical way out. Trust me. Trust reason. Trust the future I can build. Help me turn the key. Help me start the salvation machine. Together, we will not destroy the world. We will liberate it.
You heard of the Sierra Madre casino?
We all have. The legend, the curses.
Some foolishness about it lying in the middle of a city of dead.
A city of ghosts. Beneath a blood-red cloud.
A bright, shining monument, reaching out, luring treasure hunters to their doom. An illusion.
A promise that you can change your fortunes. Begin again.
Finding it, though. That's not the hard part. It's letting go.
It's letting go.
It's letting go.
It's letting go. It's letting go.
Wait a moment. Before you go, we hope you've enjoyed your stay. Farewells can be a time of sadness. Letting go, difficult. As a guest of the Sierra Madre, you know that truth more than anyone. Frederick Sinclair believed one's life could be made anew every day. That fortunes were more than the wealth in your hands. Love, life, family, those to care for, and those who will care for you. To those who know these joys, the Sierra Madre holds little they don't already have. Out in the world, beyond these walls, that is your chance to begin again. I hope you'll return in happier times. Until then, the Sierra Madre and I will hold you in our hearts.